happening, everybody? Happy hump day. It's heading back to the window with Scott and Scott. I am, of course, Scott Steen, lead handicapper over at winnersandwiners.com.
I'm our co-host, Scott Rochelle, senior handicapper over winnersandwiners.com.
And together, we make up your favorite show that is on at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. It's heading back to the window as Scott and I go through some of the day's games. Got to give you some of our favorite picks. Put it all together at the end for Bet the Farm, so stick around for that. We'll have our very best play. And, yeah, other than that, how'd your day go yesterday, bud?
Overall, went pretty well. Was also a bit busy. One with my play of the day, I had some hockey, team total over for the Capitals. They went over midway through the second period or so a sweat-free winner there. But for me personally, I had to travel to the faraway land known as New Jersey to place a couple of bets across the water there. And yeah, that was most of my night. Ended up going over, placed some bets, and went back and hung out.
You leaving your house, kind of a big deal, right?
Not even just leaving the house, leaving the state. How about that?
The state. Zach Vaughn checking in from Facebook said so many bad beats yesterday. Yeah, some bad beats, some weird beats, Scott. I had Duke in that game. They were in control of that game pretty much the entire way. And then they decided we don't really want to play anymore. Just we're done. We're done. And that was your ball game. So Nathan's in the house. What's up, Nathan Cerna? Good to have you here as always. Duke called the cops. Yeah, see, that's sort of, but I mean, it wasn't like a dramatic last minute. It was the last 4 minutes where they just absolutely shite the bed, right, Scott?
It was kind of like a car accident in slow motion. And you could tell it around the 5-minute mark or so. Duke felt like was up 15 for pretty much the entire game. And you look up and they're up about 5. And you're just wondering, like, why are they not, like, controlling this game more handily than what they've shown so far? And then you could just see it happening as Indiana started to, not Indiana, sorry, as Ohio State inched closer, that Duke really was just falling apart down the stretch. Yeah, and not only did they fall apart, they didn't score.
Yeah, they fell all the way apart. They were earlier from about 8 minutes on. They were trading. It seemed like they were trading 3s for 2s, and the league would get whittled down from 8 to 7 to 7 to 6. And you're like, and you see it, like just like you said. Brandon Zerfa says Hoosiers were a big disappointment. Yeah, needed another.
That was a hell of a game, though. Double overtime.
Great game. I had no dog in that fight, but it was one of those that I like to watch. Turned out to be a good basketball game. Joan said Duke toasted her. Yep. Not the only one. It was the Dukes. It was the Dukes. I always say that as well. Bronco Devil checking in with a Trading Places reference. That's Trading Places, Scott. You call that a Christmas movie?
Why would that be a Christmas movie?
Because they do the
Trading Places. Why would that be a Christmas movie? The only scene with Christmas is the ending with the train, or not even the ending, before leading up to the final, whatever.
There's the whole Santa party, and he's stealing.
No,
food.
I know, I get that, but the first 3/4 of the movie happened non-Christmas related. It's a good movie. I wouldn't call it a Christmas movie, though. It's not like Die Hard, where the whole thing takes place on Christmas.
Die Hard, a Christmas movie?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
You? Right. I think it's a no-brainer Christmas movie.
There are several teams in the Euro League that can beat teams from the NBA. Do you believe me, Scott?
Danielle, I don't know about that one. I think that you have an argument where you could make the case where a lot of Euro League teams have future NBA talent or even former NBA talent. But for me, I would say probably not. I think that maybe they'd be able to cover a point spread or two, maybe keep it within 10 to 20, give or take. But to win, a lot would have to go right. But you're looking at the Euro League. Do I think those Real Madrid teams with Luka could have maybe beaten a team or two? I don't know, but I do think they would have kept it close for at least a half. You?
All right. No, I don't follow Euro enough to have a legitimate opinion on that. I know there's a couple of bad NBA teams, and I know there's a couple of good Euro League teams, so it would be
like I'm not picking Maccabi Tel Aviv to beat the Detroit Pistons. Like, that's just not happening. I'm not picking that to happen.
Okay, fair enough.
Real Madrid, Barcelona, all those teams. I think that they can maybe keep it close within 20, 15, but you still have so many draft picks who are really, really good in general, comparatively speaking, to players in Europe and etc. So no, I don't think many EuroLeague teams. It's kind of the same argument you can make with the NFL against college, where if you have the Jets taking on Georgia, I think they would win? Probably not, but I think they'd keep it close for a little while.
If you watch the game, if you have an opportunity to be close up, and I mean like on the sidelines or part of that, it's the speed between the NFL and college. It is noticeable. It is appreciable. Yep. That's the thing you don't. It's much like watching a NASCAR race. You don't get an appreciation for the speed they're playing at unless you're right there. Nathan Cerna said Dan Aykroyd in the Santa suit. Yes, that's exactly.
Of course, right. Yeah, but I don't think that Christmas is a big enough, I'd say, just timepiece in that movie to be considered a Christmas movie.
All right, fair enough. So, Scott, we've been a little chilly on our Bet the Farm play, and although I'm not sure this is fair here.
It's the winter, though. What crops grow in the winter?
Like and subscribe, or we'll start making 2 Bet the Farm plays. That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. So,
we'll do it. Don't think we won't do it. We'll do it.
We won't fucking do it. We'll give out another one. Yeah, that'll teach you guys. All right, so we kind of talked about it. There are a ton of bad beats yesterday. Let's get to it, Scott. Let's find out who's picking up that cell phone and calling the cops. And calling the cops. It's pretty bad when I miss my own cues. All right, of course. Let's talk where everybody was thinking, Scott. Let's start in the NHL with the Capitals on the money line plus 115 playing the Panthers. Looked good after the end of the second period. Scott leading 4-1. I'm no hockey master. That's usually a pretty good lead, right? That's not like having a 3-point lead in the NFL. 3 points, that means something in hockey, but didn't mean anything last night. Huh?
3 goals is probably around 3 touchdowns. Is that a good comparison?
About a 20-point lead, I'd say. 17 to 20-point lead. Absolutely. Well, they gave up 24. They got scored 4-0 in the third. Didn't have to go to overtime. 4-0, third period. They lose 5-4. Good night. Bob's your uncle. Plus 115. That's a nice price. Kiss it goodbye. It's gone. Call the cops.
On the bright side, if you had the Capitals team total over, like I did for my play of the day, then you still won. So you could have won in a variety of ways in that game. But if you ended up having some college humble brag, very humble. But anyway, if you had the under in the Northwestern Wake Forest game at around 147, you only had 128 points in regulation. Sweat-free winner.
You're great.
Wait a second. What? That's an even number.
Oh, God damn.
They're tied at 64. We're going to overtime, and they don't call it undertime. 22 points in overtime. Game landed 150.
22 points in overtime. That's a pretty brutal. That's 4 points. That's 4 points a minute in overtime. That's picking them up and putting them down. You're getting it done there. All right. If you had Furman High Point, and who didn't, Scott? Under 143. High Point led 59-57 with less than 2 seconds. You're at 116 with less than 2 seconds. You're 27 points to the good. Okay. I could possibly go wrong. Well, Furman hit a layup at the buzzer because, that's what you want to give up at the buzzer. Went to overtime. You're still good. High Point leads 65-63 with less than 5 seconds left. No. Stop if you've heard this before. Furman hit a layup. 4 seconds left. Let's go to another overtime. Perhaps that'll fuck you. Oh, yes, it did. Thank you very much. Game landed 144 after 2 overtimes. If you had the under 143, you had to wait for it. And then you got fucked. Congratulations. Call the cops.
Especially when it's a sweat throughout because the teams have been separated by 2 points for pretty much the entire overtime periods and most of the second half. You just need one stop from High Point on any of those possessions.
Perhaps a layup. Perhaps playing a little defense in the middle wouldn't suck.
Or maybe foul them on a 3, and you could just win by High Point losing. But no, you didn't get that.
They don't call it double undertime, buddy.
Yep.
All right. Well, you know the drill. The opposite of the bad times are the good times you found if you were sitting in the rocking chair.
So, first one was in the NBA. If you had the Grizzlies and the Raptors under 215, each of the 4 quarters had less than 53 points. Some of them had significantly less than 53 points. Game landed 189.
Very easy. Now, if you had Maryland Eastern Shore, congratulations, because that's generally a terrible Terrible basketball team. Like bottom 5. Would you agree with that, Scott?
Bottom 5, bottom 10. They're not very good.
They're catching 36 in the hook from UConn. Pretty good team. Would you not agree, Scott?
UConn is ranked, so I'd have to agree.
Maryland Eastern Shore, not ranked last time I checked. Congratulations if you had the Maryland Eastern Shore. What are they, Scott?
They're something.
The Hobokens?
They're cover machines. That's what they are.
They were last night. They never trailed by more than 11. They end up losing by 9. Holy shit. You were always in good shape there if you had Maryland Eastern Shore plus 36.5. Congratulations. You were in the rocking chair.
And this one, I thought about putting in for odds makers were drunk, but Edwardsville's also terrible. If you had SIU Edwardsville minus 1.5 against Nebraska Omaha, you ended up picking up a nice easy winner because they led by 24 points at halftime and won by 10. Omaha might be a bottom 10 team in all of college basketball.
Uno is awful, buddy. They are not good at all. Hey, quick reminder, everybody. I want to let you guys know that we do this each and every day. If you're new to the show, we do this every day right here, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, heading back to the window. Scott and I do our individual videos. We usually have up somewhere early in the morning, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And of course, don't forget to listen to our brother here on the Winners and Winers Sports Betting Network. It's Chris King, the king of parlays, as he does his show every day, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. Little show called Just Parlays. Scott, I can't remember. What do they talk about?
I'm assuming it's parlays.
Parlays. Goddamn, it's parlays, man. That's what it is. So making sure he's actually very good at it. He bundles. He's like Frank from American Pickers. He bundles them together, comes up with winners. So make sure you check out Just Parlays with Chris King every day, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. Well, Scott, so many things are disappointing us these days, but yesterday one really stood out. Let's talk a little bit about it, shall we? Little basketball game from the West Coast. In today's edition of I'm Not Mad, I'm just disappointed. It's a double because we missed it yesterday. Go ahead, buddy.
So you got to look at the NBA for this one. You had a late night matchup between the Sacramento Kings and the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Kings were rolling early in that game, led by 14 points with about 9 minutes and 15 seconds left in the third quarter. Then the Kings decided to stop trying. And the Lakers, without LeBron, by the way, because he was in COVID protocol, the Lakers went on a 40-8 run over the next 10 plus minutes, and the Kings lost by 25.
Good Lord.
40-8 and LeBron's not on the lineup. What are you even doing?
Oh, my goodness.
Did you bring Luke Walton back for the second half? What are you doing? I thought you got rid of the coach because he couldn't handle leads. This isn't how you draw up what you should do with a 14-point lead.
I don't even know how that's possible. I don't know what
40-8.
I don't know what's more incredible, giving up 40 points in 10 minutes or scoring 8 points in 10 minutes. Probably giving up 40. That's
it's really close, honestly.
Yeah, it really is. Hey, there was a little bit of drinking going on yesterday. It's the holiday season, you know the drill, but you shouldn't drink when you're at work, especially if you're an odds maker. Scott, there was definitely a case of the odds makers being drunk yesterday. Besides undervaluing Maryland Eastern Shore, shame on you guys. Again, turning to the NBA on the West Coast, the Warriors Suns, 222.5, Scott. What the hell? Both teams ranked top 3 in defensive efficiency. As you might suspect, it didn't get to 222.5. Where did it land, Scott?
200.
200. You missed it by over 10%. If you're an odds maker, that's not a good thing, guys. Seriously. Go back to the drawing board on those two teams because y'all were drunk.
It was really a weird game because the first quarter got into the 60s, and you thought maybe you'll have a track meet on your hands. And then every other quarter was just an absolute grind. And you could tell by the fact that Curry was off. It wasn't even just because he was off. The Suns just did a great job of forcing him to be off because, damn, he was struggling the entire game. But you could tell that Phoenix and Golden State kicked it into a gear defensively, especially in the second half, that most teams in the league, if any, actually have. Those teams, when they actually try, might be the two best defensive teams in the league.
Certainly looked like it last
They
night.
might be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would. It's hard to imagine too many teams being better than they are. Somebody said I'm supposed to know all the nicknames. I really thought I did. It's the Hawks, by the way, the Maryland Eastern.
I actually know a fair share, but Eastern Shore's never really been one of my go-to ones that I've mentioned numerous times on the show.
A lot of times I do okay. I do okay west of the Mississippi, but a lot of those East Coast Colonial League type teams, I get thrown on some of your Lehighs and things like that. So,
well, by the way, John
like
Cena, I appreciate the invite. Are we sure they're going to play on Sunday? Is the COVID wave past, or are they back, or what's the story there? I don't know if the Islanders are playing or not.
They're supposed to play. Love the Chips tonight. The name the Chippewas, yeah. All the teams without stars have been winning. Kind of true, although it really wasn't true for Denver the other night. They were happy to get Jokic back.
I'm sure they were. But it's one thing that you can talk about when it comes to the next man up approach. People can focus on how bad a team supporting cast is and how the team should be worse when their best player is not in the lineup. But the way that I see it is that a lot of other people can really just take added, I'd say, responsibility as professionals to raise their level of play when somebody else is no longer there to carry the offensive load. So I do think that you might be looking at a situation where, for one game at least, these other guys can step up and put together a nice team effort to rally around the injury of the best player.
Who's more likely to rally around and step up the game? Is it going to be in the NBA, or do you think it's in the college ranks?
I think it's the NBA, because I think that as professionals, you have had a lot of experience where you might have to, I'd say, recognize the fact that you need to be a little bit more assertive offensively. For college, a lot of these guys, especially now, have only been in college for a couple of months, especially with the good teams. So they have a certain role. They're not used to ever expanding from that role. So I do think missing a key piece is more important in college than in the NBA. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you have less of a disparity as skill levels go as far as the NBA, because everybody there is obviously one of the very, very best in the world. Where that may not be true on the the Towson State number 8 guy on the bench that's going to have to play additional minutes. There's probably going to be more of a drop off as far as skill goes there. So
yeah, I agree. By the way, Cena, I don't know if I'm free Sunday. Just hit me up on Twitter and we'll figure something out. I appreciate it though.
You haven't been to a game yet?
I have not been to a game in the new arena. No.
That'd be cool. My son's going. He's coming in for the spring. He wants to go. He's going to a game with his buddy. He wants to see if you want to go with him.
Oh, cool. Either way, both of them can hit me up on Twitter, and we'll figure something out.
There you go. I may or may not come. I'm thinking about coming. See the Islanders there in the barn. If they win a game by then, I may think about
it. That is definitely true. If they lose a game by less than 2 goals, I'll consider it.
Yeah, fair enough. What do you got in the NBA you like tonight? Anything, bud?
It's a pretty interesting card. Yesterday was a little bit quiet. You have a lot of games. I don't know how many of them are really, really good. I find one game interesting involving the Kings, who we just talked about, and the Clippers, because the Clippers are laying 8. And I don't really know how good this Clippers team actually is. Because without Kawhi, this team...
It's down to 5.5, brother.
Oh, it's down to 5.5. Sorry. Yep. I thought, okay, I got to find another grid, I guess. But anyway, point is that the Kings have been a team that we can't trust because they're bad. So we know this. But the issue is the Clippers are a team without Kawhi that has kind of gotten it done offensively through smoke and mirrors. You have Paul George, who's been really good. Who else in the supporting cast do you really trust on a game-in, game-out basis? Your second best option is who? Reggie Jackson?
Well, that's the thing. It's almost been a case of somebody different stepping up every night. And you can only count on that to continue for so long, because you're right. Nobody's really stepped up to the forefront of taking the reins in that co leader, if you will.
So the point is, the Kings are a team that is still young. They're definitely untrustworthy, but do I think they can piece together a good performance? They aren't a back-to-back, but from what we talked about before, they basically just punted the entire second half. So I'm not sure how much focus they're going to have for this game. I just don't like laying that big of a number with the Clippers. Or, I mean, that big of a number. It was 8, now it's 5.5. But I don't really think the Clippers are very good. So I'm kind of tempted to take the Kings there. You?
Well, I think we saw a lot of value go away right there.
Yes, we did.
8 is definitely has me more interested than 5.5. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this Philadelphia game. Boston looks like Jaylen Brown's going to be out. Embiid's playing, so obviously I'm tempted. Of course, it's an away game for Philly, so that's less attractive. Although they've been decent on the road this year. They haven't been awful, but I am intrigued by Philly catching 3 from the Bostonians there. Boston is just it's a team that they will do everything they can to pretty much screw me. But I'm going to take the visitors there with the points.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind that. Philly, though, has been a team that I'm not sure if I really trust, especially on the road, because we know that at home they're good, on the road they're not. But I do think that line looks a little bit too high, especially with Embiid back. I know Robert
Right.
Williams is back for Boston. Do I think he can actually guard Embiid? Probably not. So I don't think that's really going to matter. But I'm looking at the points or pass for me. One game I do find interesting is the Cavaliers game against the Heat. Because according to recent reports within the last 10, 20 minutes, Bam Adebayo suffered a torn UCL in his right thumb, and he's going to undergo surgery. So he's out for about 4 to 6 weeks. And we know that Cleveland does have Jared Allen, who's a pretty solid center, but Cleveland's been a pretty feisty team this season. I think Adebayo's good, but do I think Miami's going to win without him? They could, but I am tempted to take the Cavs maybe on the money line if you think without Adebayo the team struggles.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Cavs have been a monster against the number 2, 14-5-1 against the spread. Nathan wants everybody to know Barnes is out for the Kings.
Yeah. Well, Barnes hasn't played for a couple of games for the last couple of weeks. They've been
Missed two, right?
okay. Wait, what?
So he's missed 2, right? The last 2?
I said a couple.
Okay. All right. I'm just tying.
He's
I'm
missed
just
3, actually.
pin it down. 3? Okay. Sixers give up leads like no other. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
no lead is safe with the Sixers.
I don't mind a
They were
first half play on Philly. I mean, I said that about the Magic game, where Philly's a team that seems to always get out to decent starts against bad opposition, and then they'll just take their foot off the gas for various points of games. It's the
right.
Doc Rivers effect. That's why he's so good at choking leads, whether they're up 3-1 or just up in the second half. It's because he has a hard time of keeping his players focused for a full 48 minutes. But Boston's always been one of their bigger rivals. I do think that's going to be an important game for Philly, especially with Embiid back. I'm going to go with Philly, but I do think the first half does have some merit to it.
Like the Rangers against the Flyers tonight, paying a pretty hefty price. But this is a Flyers team just not playing good hockey right now. Where are you at on that one?
You hit the nail on the head. The Flyers kind of peaked too early, where the people thought the team would be average at best. They got off to a really hot start. People jumped on board, and what do you know? It turned out to be a fugazi. This team just isn't very good. The Rangers are pretty good, and at MSG they've been solid as well. My question is, do you really want to lay 190? I don't. I'd look to the Rangers in regulation.
Give me a rag, yeah. Rangers on the puck line wouldn't be awful,
Yeah.
but they're not necessarily a team that put you away. But Philly losing 6 straight, not good, not good.
Assuming
On the road.
Igor's in net, I mind the Rangers in regulation.
Wisconsin. Somebody they like the Rangers in Wisconsin. I like the Rangers in that spot. Scott, your alma mater there.
I don't think Georgia Tech's very good, so I do think that is a plus. Wisconsin has been an interesting basketball team this season because they randomly won a tournament, which I did not have in the cards for this team. So, congrats to Wisconsin for actually winning a tournament. Were you surprised by that? Because I didn't think they'd win anything.
No, I was, and they had a couple nice wins there. Mainly, the win over Houston, I thought was pretty massive. So that
And
was the
St.
one.
Mary's is solid too.
Yeah, and then they were favored against St. Mary, but yeah, that was a pretty much a coin flip. So and they played well there. This is a Georgia Tech team, Scott. You don't really know what you have because they haven't been tested at all. They've played one game against any sort of legitimate competition, and that's even a stretch because they were 9.5-point favorites to Miami of Ohio, and they lose that one outright by 3. So other than that, they're beating up on the little sisters of the poor. They did beat Georgia. I don't know how good Georgia is. I have a hunch they're not very good. But what are they laying?
Right now, it's about 3.5.
Um,
Give or take. It opened up at 2. Now it's mostly a 3.5.
Here's the only thing I'm looking at, and it's Wisconsin's first true road game, and
Yeah.
that's been a trend that is definitely held this year for the most part, especially teams laying points on the road, making their first foray out there. For me, Scott, Georgia Tech or pass.
I kind of have to agree with you, just because of the fact that in addition to Wisconsin having the first true road game of the season, it's also their first game in about a week. They haven't played since the 24th. So I do think the long layoff could lead to a bit of rust early on into this game, but we know that Wisconsin offensively is still not very good. This team moves the ball well. Nobody's really that great at shooting. I do think Johnny Davis is a really good player, though. I think he's extremely talented. But
They do a nice
are you a
job working
Brad
for that extra
Davidson
pass.
guy? Well, what?
No, they do a nice job of getting that open look to miss the shot.
Pretty much. But you're looking at Johnny Davis, 20 plus points per game. I think he's very good. Wisconsin as a team, though, is shooting 39.5% from the floor and 28.8% from 3. This team actually cannot shoot. And Davidson, who is averaging 13.3 points per game, is shooting roughly 35% from the floor and 26% from 3. So he can't shoot. And those are the only two guys averaging double digits. So I'm not a big fan of this Wisconsin team, but I will give them props for winning a tournament, which I didn't think they were going to do. I really have a hard time laying 3.5 here. Money line, maybe. But I agree with you and your thoughts on being a little bit skeptical of backing an offensively challenged team on the road. I think Tech might be live here.
Yep. I know.
Potentially.
Elliot really wanted us to be all over the Badgers, and they're the better team.
I said the money line might be fine. I just don't want to lay 3.5.
So you don't want to lay.
They might win. I just don't want them to win by margin.
You're laying what, 150?
Give or take. I just think winning by margin for Wisconsin is tricky when nobody can hit a shot.
Yeah, to ask me about the Gophers last night. I'll back that up.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking about
they win that 54-53 or it was something hideous.
This is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wichita State, Oklahoma State. Somebody was talking about that. This goddamn Wichita State team, man. I
like them getting points. I don't like them laying points.
Yeah, they're catching 6.5 from the Cowboys, man.
I'm not an Oklahoma State guy, so I think that there's some value in Wichita State. This team's a psycho team. They occasionally are really good, occasionally play down to competition, but do I really want to lay this many points with Oklahoma State, who has really struggled to show really any type of consistency at all this season? The answer is no. So I'm looking at it's either Wichita or pass.
What do you not like about this Oklahoma State team?
Might have just been the season opener. It might have just been the season opener, which is still kind of fresh in my head.
They lost to Oakland.
Yeah, that's the one that kind of just sticks out a little bit as far as the second game of the year. But you're looking at the actual results here. I know Oral Roberts made the tournament last year, but Oral Roberts has not been good this year, at all. And you had to win in overtime to beat them. I know it was a road game, but still, I'm not really sold on this Oklahoma State team. I feel like the spread should be a bit lower.
Yeah,
around 4.5. But 6.5, 7 does seem a bit rich to me.
I will wish everybody a heartfelt good luck on this game. I don't want any part of this Wichita State team. I just
Trabajo. I love psycho teams when they're getting points, not when they're laying points. So I don't mind Wichita here if you think that they can maybe piece together a solid performance for 40 minutes.
It's like dating crazy women. You like crazy women, Scott?
Not particularly. Well, it depends.
No?
Are they going to slash your car or are they going to burn your house down?
Maybe. Maybe.
Maybe.
But
Mm,
sometimes it's worth it. Just saying.
sometimes. Okay.
Yeah,
Should I be writing this down?
you should always be writing down when I'm giving you advice. My God, haven't you learned that by now?
Well, I meant because it's already going to be on YouTube, so I can just I could refer back to it later for
Yeah,
future
well,
use.
I'll mark the spot.
Yeah.
We ride and we die. There you go. Beyond Trabajo says, I love crazy. Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. And if you love crazy, you know why you do it. I don't even need to say it. But you know why you love crazy. Anything else in the college basketball get your attention tonight? In NBA, did we leave NBA too soon? You got anything else? I didn't see anything else that really grabbed me.
Do I have anything else I like on the NBA? Oh,
I
sorry. Let
don't
me
know.
just see if there's anything else I like. Um, Not really. I find the interesting line is the Atlanta and Indiana game because Atlanta's been awful on the road, but they're a significantly better team. So it's really just a tough call on which Atlanta you expect to actually show up for a game.
Right.
Indiana's favored though. You think that's a trap one?
It certainly seems that way. Certainly something seems a little bit fishy about that. It's one of those ones I made the decision to stay away from.
Okay.
I'm just not sure that I trust him.
And one thing I do like that I didn't mention before, I like the Bucks team total over, or really just any over in that game. Look at Charlotte's defensive numbers for the last week and change. They just hand out 120 points, no
Yep.
questions asked.
That defense has been like this all season.
Yeah.
It's been very weird. Nathan says, "Here's a winner for you: the Vermont Catamounts at the house." I generally
You know
like
I like
Vermont.
Vermont.
They've
Yeah.
been disappointing as far as being able to cover numbers this year. I don't dig them. Of course, this Dartmouth team got a nice win over Georgetown, but they have a loss at Boston College. I honestly I don't know that much about Dartmouth right now. I bet the house on Vermont, buddy. You think this is the spot they step up?
I wouldn't bet the house, but I think they'll fare pretty well here. Dartmouth is a team
They're at the
that is
house too.
usually mediocre in the Ivy,
Yep.
but I do think Vermont's better. I don't mind an under in that spot. I think Vermont, pace-wise and defensively, is good enough to limit Dartmouth. And
Yep.
Dartmouth is a team that doesn't really, I'd say, play with much pace either. I think you'll see a low-scoring game.
Ivy League schools get no respect. You know they're starting to. Princeton and Harvard are both getting almost being capped correctly. I've noticed that this year. But generally speaking, I agree. Elliot says he's on the points. I don't disagree with that. Just based on what Vermont's done against the number, they've just haven't been able to take care of business. One of the two games they covered was against an Ivy League school. They covered 5 against Yale. So
I mean, I'm looking at the under, so I have a hard time laying this amount of points when you're looking at a game that should be low scoring.
mhm.
So I'm looking at the under instead. I do think the pace is going to hurt the odds of Vermont covering because I do expect points to be at a premium in this spot.
Villanova. Joan likes Villanova tonight, laying that big number. You know, we talked about that for a potential bet the farm play.
I think
And
Villanova's going to kill this team because I don't think Penn's any good. But I am wondering if Villanova's really going to put the pedal to the metal in the second half, which I doubt. So I think Villanova might cover the full game. I like them first half, though. Penn's a team that randomly went to double overtime against Utah State. But besides that, they're really just a bad team. And Villanova just killed LaSalle in the last game. They've done well against bottom feeder opponents. Villanova should coast to a nice, easy winner here.
I agree. If ever there was a spot where you want to lay 18 on the road, this would probably be it for me. Cavs only getting 3 because of Miami's injuries. Yeah,
Yeah.
Cavs have been randomly good against the number as well. Giannis 30 plus points.
Yeah.
Christian Woods 14 plus rebounds. Don't hate either one
It's
of
a
them.
lot of rebounds, but Oklahoma City is not exactly a good rebounding team, so I don't mind that.
Got the Kansas City Mavericks money line in the under. That's what do they play in the Central Hockey League?
Could be.
I can see a hockey arena from my apartment.
That I didn't know.
I can literally look out the window and see a hockey arena. Yeah.
Cool.
UFC this weekend. You're going to be made 1,100 on the boxing match when against Tiafama and hit off the $100 bet. Nicely done, Elliot.
I actually watched that fight. I thought it was very close, very solid fight. I was not surprised it went to a split. I thought that Lopez lost, and I found it amusing that he said it straight up, "I'm not a sore loser," and then argued he won 10 rounds to 2. That sounds like being a sore loser to me, but I'm no expert on it. Yeah, I thought Lopez lost the fight. It was very entertaining, though. Congrats on the win, Elliot. I think that the right guy won in the end. I thought a split was debatable. Let's put it that way.
Bronco Devil likes Xavier first half over 40. Yes, that's another game. I looked at that personally. I like that. I like that Xavier team in that spot tonight.
Of course, I hate. Of course, I hate that play. Central Michigan, the Chippewas. They're so bad. They're such a terrible team. I said I liked Gonzaga laying 36 against them. They were up that basically at the half. Central Michigan gets killed by any competent team that they have. So that they're against, I have to like that because Central Michigan, they're bad on offense, they're bad on defense. At least they're consistent.
Hey, STM Network hit his parlay yesterday. Hit the Wild and the over. He's got another parlay for us today. It is the Leafs on the money line and the under. That is live today.
By the way, Bronco, if you're asking what the Bellarmine team is, they're the Knights. Was that your question? Central Michigan's the Chippewas. Bellarmine's the Knights.
Ever been hit with boxing gloves, Raichel? It's a good question.
I have not.
I boxed. I did two things in college that I'd never ever done before in my life for intramurals because I wasn't heavyweight. I was like 190 to 200, whatever, and I had to box and I had to wrestle just so we get participation points, and it was two of the hardest fucking things I've ever done. Just dancing around the ring for 3 minutes, it's incredibly tiring. And I was in good shape. I was in sports shape, and and then you get hit. And it's, I was put it this way. I was ready for it to be over. It was, and the wrestling was even incredible because I'd never wrestled in my life. And I won my first round against another guy that had never wrestled in his life. And the second guy was a guy who wrestled in high school. And we kind of grappled around a minute and like, hey, I got a real shot at this. And all of a sudden it was flip, done. And like, I don't even know how that happened. So yes, I highly recommend both of those things, Scott. If you ever get a chance, go to a gym, put on some gloves, and just spar with somebody for a little while.
I believe it was Mike Tyson who had the famous line of "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face."
Yep.
I feel like that's a pretty accurate representation of fighting.
Yeah, I agree. See, Loud 39 the Bellarmine Knights. Taking damage hurts the gas tank. Who knew? Well, anybody that likes video games, you see it. You see your life force run down on every video game.
Mm-hmm. The little hearts on the top of the corner, like the Zelda games or whatever.
Sure, not good at all. And I pretty much just exhausted my knowledge of video games. Wrestling got me ready for basketball and football. Agreed. We just had a great Kansas City Hall of Famer, Curly Culp, died a couple of days ago, and he was a heavyweight wrestling champ in college, and it served him very, very well as a nose tackle in the NFL. He threw down back in the day. You know what? More than I'd like to admit. I have to say that. What else you got tonight?
John, am I going to do UFC this weekend? Maybe. I think the card is better than the one it was 2 weeks ago. It's still not great, but he got Aldo fighting. I'll probably do a video on it.
Body blow. What? I know that game. What? That's one of the few video games I know. Browns backer. I remember that game.
I'm just immediately thinking like Mike Tyson's Punch Out, but
10 units. Steen on the money line versus Jake Paul. God damn, I'd so love to beat that kid up. He's just so annoying. He is a representation of everything that is wrong with sports, right there in one. Him and his brother, they're both. They're okay. I'm sorry.
In a way, I do kind of appreciate the fact that he's brought to light how. I kind of appreciate the fact, though, he's brought to light as a byproduct just how lost the sport of boxing is in this century, because boxing really has been forced to rely on YouTubers fighting to gain any hype at all, which I feel like, I don't know if that's UFC taking over for boxing or just the actual fact that none of the best guys really fight against each other anymore, which is a pain in the ass. But boxing, whether it involves the corrupt judges, the different promotions not letting their guys fight, can we get Spence to fight against Crawford already? Like, that's the fight you want. Can you stop dragging it out for 4 years? We just want to see the best people fight each other.
I'm ready. Brown, and we'll close it. Brownsbacker says, I'd love to see the Paul brothers get KO'd. Yeah, me too. Again, I don't want to turn this into old man yells at clouds. All right. Everything that's wrong with you kiddies, but seriously, can we get the fucking Paul brothers off of sporting events? That's my only request. Yeah, it's just nicotine, Elliot. Everybody, like, once the show, somebody will ask me if I'm just sitting here getting fucking blasted, which I'm not. It'd be a very different show, Scott. Put it this way, you'd be doing a lot of the graphics. I'm just saying.
Well, we can't have that.
All right. No, we really can't. All right. So you ready, bud? You ready to get off the schneid? You and I, we were talking about this before the show. We think we've lost either 4 or 5 straight on Bet the Farm. We don't really keep track either way. We know when we're on a winning streak and we know when we're on a losing streak. We're on a losing streak right now. So I think it's been about a week. So let's get to the move. No shit, Joan. I'm with you. Let's find out. You ready, buddy? You ready, Scott?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, it's time. Everybody, get your straw. See, I don't think everybody's putting their straw hats on. Get your damn straw hats on right now. You got it? Okay, here we go. Climb up on your tractor. Fire it up. Let's get ready. Today is the day to bet the farm. All right, sir.
So for this one, we're going to the NBA. We're going to look at the Denver Nuggets on the road, -7.5 at -110 on FanDuel, taking on the Orlando Magic. Now, Orlando is one of the worst teams in the league. It has lost 7 in a row, and it is 1-7-1 ATS at home this season. So does home court matter? Maybe to some teams, not that much to the Magic because they're going to lose either way. But Denver finally got Nikola Jokic back for its last game and ended up beating a talented Miami team by 9 points on the road. So I do like the fact that Jokic seems to have really revitalized the offense as he should. And I do think that you're going to see Denver perform well in this spot. Plus, through the efficiency numbers, Denver ranks 15th in offensive efficiency. Orlando ranks tied for 28th. Denver defensively ranks 19th, and you have Orlando ranking 26th. Yes, you do have the return of Cole Anthony, but Jalen Suggs is now out indefinitely. Orlando's still battling injuries. They're a terrible team. And Denver with Jokic, we do think is better than its overall record. Give us the Nuggets -7.5.
There you go. Take it to the bank. Bet the farm on it. Bet the wife and kids. This is the one. We are not losing this one tonight. It is the Nuggets -7.5 against the terrible Orlando Magic. And that's going to do it for us, guys. Yeehaw, indeed. We want to hear the song. We want to hear the song tomorrow, Scott.
Okay.
We want to hear the song tomorrow. So
you want me to take over the yeehaw for the song tomorrow?
If you can hit the cue, yeah, you can do the yeehaw. All right.
Yeah.
So you guys definitely want to tune in for that. Hey, thanks for tuning in today. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for being a part of the show. Love it. Dig it. Hope you guys hit every single play tonight and we all head back to the window. We'll see you tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Don't forget to check out Chris King right before us, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. You can just slide right in, make an afternoon of it, you guys. All right. Actually, we may be doing the college show tomorrow. I think we're going to, because we got Friday night games. So we'll be back to back. We'll be doing the doubleheader tomorrow. Scott's finding out. We'll look at his face now. Not good. We'll be doing that show tomorrow right after our regular show. We'll be doing the college show. You guys take care. We'll see you then. Have a great day. Bye-bye.